John Fury, in a recent interview, suggested that Oleksandr Usyk stands no chance against Tyson Fury and that he's no better than Steve Cunningham. Well, of course, I beg to differ. At least in terms of Oleksandr Usyk being no better than Steve Cunningham. In terms of him standing no chance against Tyson Fury, well, I can give my opinion. John Fury can give his opinion. But at the end of the day, these are just opinions. We have to see the two guys in the ring to find out for sure who's better than who and who stands no chance against who. But in terms of Oleksandr Usyk being no better than Steve Cunningham, I mean, come on. Oleksandr Usyk's resume shows that he's way better than Steve Cunningham. Now look, styles make fights. Maybe Steve Cunningham had certain attributes that Tyson Fury found difficult to deal with, which Usyk might not have to the same degree, because some people have said that Usyk doesn't really throw the overarm looping shots that Cunningham would throw, like the shot that Cunningham caught Tyson Fury with in that second round. And that might be true, but Usyk has other attributes which Cunningham doesn't necessarily have. Usyk's foot movement and head movement is much better than Cunningham's foot and head movement. Usyk has shown time and time again the ability to go into people's backyards and take their titles from them. Steve Cunningham, he was a good cruiserweight, but he never reached the heights and he never beat the quality of opposition that Oleksandr Usyk has beaten, including at heavyweight. I mean, Steve Cunningham had some life and death struggles with some of the big men, and they were just contenders. I'm talking about after the Tyson Fury fight. So, yeah, Cunningham is no Usyk. I know John Fury's trying to dismiss it all and make out as though Usyk is no better than Cunningham. The reality is Usyk has proven himself over time to be much better than Steve Cunningham. So it's really not debatable if you're just looking at their resumes, looking at their track records, that Usyk is the superior guy. But again, what would happen in a fight between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury? I think that Tyson Fury, just as John Fury suggests here, listen to what he says. He says that Usyk is a tricky little fighter, but Tyson will close him down and bludgeon him into defeat. That is how Tyson Fury would have to go about the job, in my estimation. I just don't see Tyson Fury staying at long range and using his jab and boxing Oleksandr Usyk. I don't think that's going to work. I think Tyson Fury would get outboxed if he tried to outbox Usyk. I think Usyk's coordination and head movement and foot movement is better than Fury's, and I know Fury looks slick when he's fighting big guys, but he hasn't fought a guy the size and with the skill of a Usyk for many, many years. The closest thing to it since the Cunningham fight would be Otto Wallin, and Wallin gave Fury plenty of issues. Yeah, Wallin lost the fight ultimately, but he landed a nice left hand that cut Tyson Fury, and he managed to stay in there for the 12 rounds. So you can come up with all the excuses in the world. At the end of the day, Otto Wallin isn't Oleksandr Usyk. He isn't as good as Usyk. But we can see what a southpaw can actually do, even in the early rounds, landing good left hands that are cutting Fury's eye. So yeah, I think that Fury is not outboxing Usyk, in my mind, in a million years. But what he would have to do is exactly what he did against Cunningham. Close him down, just like John Fury suggested, and try to bludgeon him. Do what Anthony Joshua failed to do in 2 fights, and actually fight a big man fight. A Joe Joyce type fight, where you're all over the little man, you're mauling him in the clinches, you're pulling him around, you're hitting him wherever you can hit him. That's the kind of fight that Tyson Fury would have to fight to win. And maybe he can do it successfully. I'm certainly not dismissing the possibility that he could be successful doing that. But I still think it'll be a struggle. I still think that Tyson Fury against Usyk is going to be made to look clumsy. He looked clumsy against Cunningham. He looked clumsy at times against Otto Wallin. Against Usyk, he's going to look more clumsy than we've seen him probably since his very early career, in my estimation. And I think people will be surprised. A lot of people who have bought into this idea that Fury is this supreme boxer who can outbox anyone, I think they'll be surprised when they see how uncoordinated he looks relative to Usyk. Again, he looks really well coordinated against big men, but little men, certainly a little man like Usyk, are on a next level in terms of coordination and balance and all that kind of thing. And you don't really realize the gap in terms of coordination until you see someone like a Fury in there against a Usyk. AJ, as clunky as he looked in both Usyk fights, he's actually a very well coordinated big man. Out of the big men out there, AJ has some of the best balance and coordination and all that kind of. He's not as slick as Fury, not as smooth with his movements, but he's very well coordinated and balanced. But against Usyk, he didn't look particularly well coordinated. But that's because Usyk is on a different level to most heavyweights. And again, I think you'll see that if he fights Fury. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below.